Today we're going to be talking about clubs around the rest of the country. Bad meaning bad, but about
Right.
That was the first venue I went in there, and I was like, "Rug."
There's a whole documentary about this club because it was so iconic.
Stoke-on-Trent, yeah?
Stoke-on-Trent,
Yeah,
yeah.
went there once.
Bruv, there was right, listen, you just sit there a minute. Let us have a conversation.
SaSaSaS show. Best of the best of the best with the very fresh flow.
Welcome to part 2 of our club section, and today we're going to be talking about clubs around the rest of the country because the last episode, if you haven't seen it, go back and check it. It is here, up here.
Did we show a bit of London bias, do you think, doing a whole episode on London?
Yeah, well, I think it's just...
I'm only joking.
There was just so many clubs in London. It was just mad, you know what I mean? But
especially as, like, obviously, man grew up around this area, and we're more likely to go to them clubs, so we got the experience, not just to perform.
But loads of people from up north would come to London anyway.
Yeah.
For real, I'm saying.
It's weird because, like, even though I was born and bred in London, I actually made my name as an artist in the Midlands and the North. Okay. Because I remember LSD when he met me at Shepherd's Bush at a record shop years ago. He was like, "Oh, what are you doing down here?" I was like, "Oh, I live around the corner." And he's like, "Oh, I thought you were a northerner." I was like, "Do I sound like a northerner?"
The perception was because he was killing it
because
up
I was
there.
up there, you know what I mean, smashing it. But so yes, welcome SaSaSaS, Life and Laughter, and we're going to go straight into it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Turn it up, play it loud, and get involved. Remember to leave your comments. We'd love to hear about the clubs that meant something to you back in the day. So I'm going to start, and I want to start with a club because I've just seen a documentary on it recently, and the documentary is amazing. And there's a club called Stearns in Worthing. Yeah. Did you ever go to Stearns in Worthing? Right.
What? So there's a whole documentary out about
this. There's a whole
this,
documentary about this club because it was so iconic, and it was basically like 3 or 4 floors. Now, I used to play in the basement, and like it was basically a mansion house at the top of a hill. Okay. And a guy called Mensa, God rest his soul, Mensa was an absolute legend, and he brought basically rave music there. So it'd be like me, Carl Cox, Rat Pack, people like that. I think Gachet used to play there.
So what would be the music? Is that hardcore?
Yeah, it was like rave. Yeah, so there'd be loads of different floors. So you'd have hip hop and one floor up top, and then like sort of like Balearic house or house music.
Okay, so rave, would that be like Let Me Be Your Fantasy?
Yeah, that kind of era.
Okay,
cool, so the sort of like hands in the air job.
Right. Okay.
But obviously we weren't really playing that Let Me Be Your Fantasy back in them days because we would be playing probably a bit more of the underground vibes.
Right,
you know what I mean? So check that documentary, is amazing. But the club, like, really, I wouldn't be able to do it a service by just talking about it here on the pod because we've got a ton of clubs here that we need to go through. But please check out that documentary. It's on YouTube. It's about 45 minutes long, and I tell you now, there's all video footage in here of like back then, and you know, it's quite mad. Even when in my comments, big up all the people on Facebook when I asked about the clubs, they made comments. Someone actually said, "I used to stand beside you at Stearns while you were playing, making notes of the tunes you were playing," and you know, but it was such a. I think
that was your spot back then. Yeah, was it your number one spot to go and play?
I don't know if it was my number one spot because I think this is
Worthing.
Yeah, in Worthing. I think that I didn't realise how special it was until it was gone. Does that make sense?
It was up there the other week.
We was, weren't we, Shabs?
Yeah, it was we were in shots there.
Yeah, we done a thing in Worthing the other week. So vibes, man. I remember seeing it.
Was it at the? It wasn't at the warehouse.
Bought a club up there, innit? They've not bought a club up there, and it's basically it was on the. I don't know what was it called.
I can't remember what it was called, man. But it was wicked.
Yeah.
But we had a good night. H came down. Not H. He's gonna kill me for this. RD. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Sorry.
Oh, I see the video.
Sorry, big up RD came down, shown love. Big up his full team, man. You know what I mean? Bloody H. Sorry.
So so I want to big up Stearns, like Worthing. What an iconic venue. And talking of other iconic venues, does anyone remember Shelley's in Stoke?
Yes, I remember Shelley's.
Yeah. Shelley's was nuts. It was just
Stoke's a long way to go, so it must have been good.
Bruv, it was
Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah,
went there once.
Bruv, there were some proper raves in there.
Serious.
And also talking about Stoke, there was another event called Club Kinetic, and big up Errol. That was my boy Errol. I always remember Errol saying something to me. This is just as we were coming out of 91 into 92, and he said to me, "You're one of the top 8 DJs in the country." And I was like, "Oh, shut up! What are you talking about?" And he went, "No, think about it." He goes, "There's 8 people playing on this event, 8 people playing on this event, 8 people playing on this event." He goes, "And you're on all of them." He goes, "Look, Carl Cox is on them." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." I did, I wasn't there going, "Oh, I'm one of the top 8." But when he dropped it like that, I was just like, yeah, all right, whatever. I didn't. Again, it was a time where you're just caught in the moment. And this is why I say to people like Mackie and Goddard when we had him here, enjoy the moment, because you just sort of take it for granted, really.
You definitely do take things for granted when you're in that moment, man. Definitely. And then you look back and think, oh, that was special, man.
Very special.
That was a special time. But when you're in the midst, when it's like, because things move fast, innit? When you're in that lane, everything's going crazy, and you're doing like bear shows, flying out and all this. It's just another show, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's just another show.
It's like when we went Rampage, I'd say to you, like, come on, let's go for a walk around. And you're like, nah, man.
I did on the third time.
Yeah,
I
you
did because I'm a bit older now.
Yeah, but the thing is like where you were so focused on, right, we got what's next.
Yeah.
But what it is like I did say to you, come on, bro, and we went for a walk round.
It was wicked. It was
sick,
wicked to see it from that side.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
So big up Club Kinetic. That was also another iconic venue in Stoke. It was at a venue called the Leisure Bowl. And it's quite funny because after that club finished, it kind of felt like Stoke as an area for clubbing and music kind of went with that. Do you know what I mean? And what I think people forget, and councils especially, and this is quite weird that these people are elected, they don't understand that the culture that venues can bring to each city. And why do you think Leeds is popping? Why do you think Manny's popping? Why do you think Liverpool's such a great city? Bristol. Why? Because their councils give them spaces to put events, have events. In London, they're just stripping everything away, and it's like it's quite heartbreaking, really. Do you understand what I mean?
Bristol was Margaret Scarvey was a sick place.
Well, that wasn't in Bristol. That was in Nottingham.
Well, there was Margaret Scarvey. It was
in Bristol.
Yeah, it was the church. Oh. It was the Trinity.
Oh, right.
Margaret
Okay.
Scarvey back in the
I
day.
didn't know that.
So
okay.
when I first went there, I think it was '94. I got my first booking up there.
Yeah.
And it was that's where I went for Sam and Cecil, original Bristol promoters.
Yeah.
And they used to do things in there. Yeah, and basically there was things like Asteria later on or whatever, but that was sick, man.
Trinity, I've never actually been.
It's a church again.
Yeah, it's a Trinity. It's still, it's still about.
A venue, do you know what I mean?
Right, that venue's still about, apparently.
Yeah, it's still about, yeah. Gummy did something there a couple of years ago.
Oh, did he? But you know what the thing is like Bristol has probably got to be the main city for drum and bass right now in the UK.
I've always, for the last probably like
10 years,
something like that.
Yeah.
You know, they got the staple of having the Ronnie Size coming from there originally, and putting all that spotlight on it with DJ Die and Dynamite and Crust and all those people,
Town,
man.
isn't it?
But now it's like when you look at like, you know, the historical things of Blue Mountain, Lakota, even having the O2 there and putting on regular big drum and bass nights, and there's loads of little small spots as well. Bristol is just like, to me, it's the capital of drum and bass in the UK, man.
I think so. And also as well, if you think about the amazing artists that are coming out of Bristol as well, like both, you know, the new generation of artists that are coming through now, that, you know,
who's new coming from Bristol, man?
Well, I mean,
obviously I mentioned the more like the Ronnie Size.
Yeah, so you've got like a Little Sound, she's from Bristol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Crossy.
Oh, of course. So the Born on Road guys, they're all out of Bristol.
Road, like that's their hub.
And
Gardner's from Bristol,
Right, okay, so they've got a little movement.
And I know we've only just touched on 3, but trust me, there's loads. There's another guy just outside Bristol called Jenks. Just check him out, he's sick. So anyway, this is about clubs. We don't want to go too deep into the artist thing. So Bristol, the only club we haven't mentioned in Bristol, which is like one of the best clubs in Bristol right now, is Emotion. They do what they do for the music culture in general is amazing. It's such an amazing.
I love it when
venue,
they do their daytime events and have that outside spot rocking. And they have two other arenas. Quite big arenas as well, and it's always jam, and it's like there's a different vibe at every stage. And the people just love it. The people of Bristol, you can tell that's like they just feel home there.
Well, the thing is,
security are cool. The lineups, and what I love about the lineups, obviously Run do a lot there. You know what I mean? And big up Rob Cracknell and all the guys, man, and Blast Bristol and all that. They really do like put on an event which showcases the whole spectrum of drum and bass. So you have Spy, but then you have SaSaS, and then you have X-Man, and then you have Ed Rush and Optical. I'm just giving examples, but it's very varied in the lineups they put on. You know what I mean? They try and showcase the whole thing, and I think the people that turn up to that is that they appreciate that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Another club in Bristol which is about now is Dare 2, and
I never played there.
Yeah, no, I haven't. It's but apparently the outdoor thing is like supposed to be really good. You know?
I've done a few things in there. I mean, it's decent. The only thing with that Dare 2 club, the sound is they've not got monitors for the mics. And it's one of them clubs there when you go in there, it's like Feedback City.
Oh, Shabs, you know, I think we have to put the red mark on that one.
Start. We have to edit that bit.
Yo, sound engineer, man, fix up, man.
Hey, listen, if anyone's looking for a new DJ name, call yourself sound engineer, because Shabba will shout you every single set he does.
Trust me, man. I said it to Evil on Sunday. Man's going mutton, you know, bro. I'm wearing my earplugs and all that now. I've had them for about 5 years and never wore them, but I started to wear them everywhere I go. Yeah. And I can now MC with them as well. So it's sick, man. But
that's interesting, because like obviously you've been like in the game, we're celebrating it this year, 30 years in the game. So do you think the fact that sometimes with the hearing thing is because bad monitors in clubs, as we're talking about 100%. Clubs?
Like even my telly, I have to put my telly on higher, and even subtitles, bro, on there. Do you know what I mean? My ears are like not, so I have to protect what I've got left. But definitely over the years, that's like 30 years of drum and bass in your ears.
Well, listen, you know, I've been telling you lot for years, get earplugs. I will not even walk in the club.
We've got the link, but I never use them. And then I was in America when I was on tour in America, and it's so loud over there, the music, and I just put my plugs in, and before I couldn't hear BMC, and I was thinking, right, is it even coming out? And then I just done it, and then basically everywhere I go now, I've just used to it now. Do you know what I mean? Okay. I can't. Nicky Black Market is he's got hearing aid. And Do you know what I mean? No, so it's like what that just made me just feel, you know.
You must be the first MC to be using them, because I've not seen anyone else use them yet.
I've seen a few people are. Oh, really? But there's quite a few people that go into raves and just put them in. Do you know what I mean? But actually,
I mean MCs.
Oh yeah. I mean. These ones you can hear. You actually got proper little
I need to do a test on them.
Bruv, trust me.
I'm skeptical.
You still got them. I've got ACS sorted.
They're in the drawer, man.
Yeah. You got.
I've never actually put them in.
No, they're ringing when you come out. Like, I can't believe.
Well, I don't get that, because I wear earplugs.
That's what I mean. They're ringing when you don't wear them. Like, it's mad. But
Well, you know what? While we're here, big up ACS, Jerry, and all the boys. Like, you know, they've really looked after us over the years. And anyone I talk to who, if they ask me a question about hearing, and I'm like, I go in, they're like, oh God, shut up.
Yeah, shout out to James as well, man. He put me onto him, man. He used to work with there, innit? And so, big up James, an original Black Market crew from back in the day. Yeah,
man, wicked. So, right, so moving on, I think, because what we should do, because the clubs here are all over the place, what we should do is talk about cities. Okay. So let's go to Birmingham, because Birmingham has got some amazing venues and had some amazing venues. So I want to start. Does anyone remember the Hummingbird?
No.
Oh my God, the Hummingbird was mad, bruv. All right, so let me give you another one. Aston Villa Leisure Centre.
No.
So I played
spotting it.
Q Club. I remember Q
Club. Now you're talking. I don't know what area you're talking about, bro.
Hummingbird and Aston Villa Leisure Centre. There were things. The Dance Planet done the sickest.
I'm just saying, what era is this? Like?
What era? Well, it would be like.
I came in the game 2009, so I think you're way off with me.
All right. Listen, you just sit there a minute. Let us have a conversation.
No, but even back in the day, I never used to go Birmingham until later. I went and. It was like Starlight Club, Leicester.
Right, now I was going to say Leicester.
That was rough.
Do you know what?
Starlight was rough.
I used to play there loads. Now I actually had to get one of my people. I could not remember the name of it, because the rave was big up SS. It was Total Chaos. SS and Idris used to run it, and Tanya. And I remember I'd be in there, and it was the vibes in there, bruv. It was electric, but I couldn't remember the name. Starlight 2001.
That was the first club I see. It was mad chaos. Like, I see chaos.
It's called Total Chaos. That's what the night was called.
But it was a stereo rave, and like it was a gunshot in the rave, bruv.
Right.
That was the first venue I went in there, and I was like, I got to the door, and I'm from like a rough area. Do you know what I mean? When I went up there, I was like, there was like 30, 40 man at the door. Got in there, I was like, I don't like the look of this rave. It was just pure bad man in the rave.
You could feel the energy.
And I was like, and then all of a sudden, like, bass man was on the mic. I must have touched the mic now for like 2 minutes. I just heard bam. Do you know what I mean? And man started running. Oh my God. And then I found out after I went to Kenny Khan, I went, bruv, get me somewhere safe. Everyone was running and all that. And I found out a week later that someone had a thing on them. and it went off in their pocket.
Ah, so there wasn't even licking shots like that.
No, man, it went off. Everyone was, you know what I mean? It was that sort of affair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I remember Bass telling me after, he was like, like one of the guys, he just let the thing off and he basically shot himself.
Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? So it was mad, bro. Like,
So it wasn't even intentional. That spot sounds crazy, man.
It was vibes, man. But
it was vibes as well.
it was vibes. No, it was vibes. Because sometimes
it's you. I know what it was. It was you with your record, isn't it? That
44 mag.
It's you.
Funny enough, I have a story about that. I remember Kenny Ken told me he played 44 mag in Manchester, and as it went, all I got is a 40, and then he just heard shots going off, and he said he had to style it out, and he ducked behind the decks, but he ducked and was going through his records like he was looking for his records, but he was hiding behind the decks. But
that day was messy, man. I don't get it twisted. Like, I'm telling you, certain raves, it was like, there was an era, I think, between about 94 and I'd say 98. I think in that era there, maybe before, it was just like a 2-3 year era, but it was like the raves were messy, man.
Yeah.
But
was it more when you went to them kind of Birmingham places, or was London kind of?
No, it was all over the whole country.
Oh,
man.
really?
Everywhere.
It wasn't centric to certain areas.
No, it wasn't. It was like London was
everywhere
was
you went.
The thing is, the way I always talk about it is, it was when the music becomes so popular and it was part of like youth culture. What happens is when something becomes so popular, everybody wants to be involved.
That happened with garage as well, right?
Yeah, it did happen with garage.
Before garage, though, that's just that. There was nothing there like that, like grime or garage. So you can imagine everyone's just into one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just saying, I heard that similar thing happened to garage, where so many men were coming to the dances.
They just come flocked it out, and it become like the road dances or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all changed the format, but back then, like we were saying, there was not them options.
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was only one option.
You know
what I mean?
Everyone was going to the same spot.
Yeah.
But
and if you
think about
imagine
it,
all them grime man, hip hop man, this man, that man, all coming together, plus your ravers.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It was like
it's a serious concoction.
It was like sheep amongst the wolves, really.
Yeah. Crazy.
I was one of the wolves, bro. Do you remember the skimmer thing, the Teen Wolf? Do you know about that? We won't talk about
that.
That's something else,
man. That's something else.
But so anyway, other clubs in Birmingham. But my mind's gone blank now because I'm just thinking about
Birmingham. I'll say one, Custard Factory, right?
Custard Factory, yeah.
First I went D&B Awards. That was a wicked spot, man. That was around 2010, I think. That was popping up.
What was
there,
that other club as well where he used to do it at the back bit? It's round about that area. Digbeth. There was a massive club. There was Q Club that was round the other side, and there was one at the back where Majika always used to do his things in
and
there.
we did something.
The awards was there as well a couple of
times. The Weird
times.
Science lot up there.
There's loads of them spots. Right? When you say around the back, I'm picturing all these spots and them like.
Air. You talking about Air?
Air was wicked, man. Air was a spot.
I'm saying Air was a decent.
That's still there. That's still there. You know?
Yeah.
As a venue. And it's still called Air.
Yeah. I think Mike Ravertots is actually doing something there.
I love the fact, when we're talking about this, I love it when you're telling me the ones that are still there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's horrible to think of all these clubs gone, all those memories, and you know what I mean. But the ones that are still there. Salute, man.
Well, let's move over to never eating shredded wheat. Let's move over to the east side of the country, right? Let's talk about like places like Oscars in Clacton. Did anyone ever go there? You must have went.
Oscars,
yeah. So I met my wife at Oscars, which I spoke about on a previous podcast, and her mum and dad met at Oscars 30 years before that, which is quite mad.
Clacton's Essex seaside, right?
Yeah. Clacton, yeah. So it's over east. It's over
Hastings Pier.
Yeah. No, Hastings.
No.
Hastings is south.
I know about that.
Hastings
is Kent, basically. But I know about that.
Wait a minute, we can't go from east to south.
I'm just getting excited because it's somewhere I know now.
Southeast.
All right,
all this Stearns talk. Let's do
a quick detour to Hastings. Yeah, how's Hastings?
Oh, Hastings Pier for me was the one, bruv. New Year's Eve one year, we all bunked the train. We all got up there, and it was just like one of the maddest experiences. Yeah, I think you know what it was. Actually, it was Shabba Skibber Shy FX midnight set. I can't tell you the year, but I just remember thinking how much I loved the music at that point. It was just like my two favorite MCs. Shy was the guy. The energy in the spot. Even the mad people I met there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like the security though, man. The security there was Aggie, bro.
But they real.
We had bare arms ass for the security.
As artists.
Yeah, but you probably turned up. Yeah, but wait a sec. Hold on, wait. You probably turned up with 32 man. That's the difference.
No. There was a couple times where they just, like they're them pumped up geezers. They're on steroids or whatever. They just want a little rock. So it's like any little opportunity. And I used to get targeted a lot as well. Like, man, obviously, man was at the back probably smoking, doing whatever. Do you know what I mean? And man was grip man up and that. There's no talking, you know what I mean? There's a grip man up, but yeah. That
spot. But do you remember we actually got to play there with SaSaS as well? Just before the lockdowns and stuff, man. It went off. I remember I said to you, if you play some jungle, it's going to go off here because I knew the older heads are back out as well as the youngers. And remember, it went off there, man.
Big up Jim, man. Big up Jim anyway. You're there.
Pure Science, Jim?
Yeah, Jim, man.
Big respect, man. That brother used to as soon as he knew I knew Skibbs, he used to always let me in Pure Science for free, man. Shout out to you, brother. Bless.
Yeah, wicked. I'm trying to think of other venues down that way. In Maidstone, you had...
well, there's Atomics, which we mentioned. We mentioned
what's the other club in Maidstone now that's there? Is it a bar? Is it
what's it called? We played there bare times, man. It's like
it's not
remember we did the street party outside. We played it with Jammer.
Yeah. That's sick.
Totally different.
No, but that was round the other side. It's right. It's the bigger part of the club, but that club is still there, isn't it? That bar. They still do things.
Yeah, they still do things there.
It's not called Sober, no.
I can't believe it's my ends as well. I can't. It's Maidstone.
So
Everyone's gonna be in the comments. Let us know, man, because I remember there's some wicked memories from there. When we done the SaSaS there, and then we went back and we did an SaSaS special at Lord of the Mics.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a wicked event, innit? With Jammer's thing.
That was mad.
Crazy.
It's good to see all the old faces out as well. Like a lot of them. Kent ravers as well, they always come out like, you know, there'll be a party and you won't see them for like 10, 15 years and then bam, they just all come out for one.
I find that Kent as an area to rave was, it felt like the people from Kent, they were very much supportive of their home sort of events.
Sauce bar. That's it. Sorry, I didn't want to butt in, but sauce bar. Sauce bar.
I said sober. I
knew he was close, But so sorry, man, back to your point about
you know
Kent
what?
ravers.
I want to say Herne Bay, right? There used to be a thing called 691 Reincarnation. That was nuts. I was a little resident there. I'll tell you a story. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know Hype's a scratch master and that. So I went round his house one day and I was like, bruv, teach me how to scratch. So he went, go on then. So he put me on his decks and he done not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. You know that? So I was there going for about 4 hours. Bad meaning bad, but I was doing this. He said all he could hear was he said it was doing his nutting, so he went out. Anyway, that night we were both playing that Reincarnation, and I remember there was a Pascal tune, and it had this bit where it went, which was like quite new at that time. You know what I mean? So I thought, I'm going to do it. So I started going, and I done it about 4 times in the deck jump, and then Hype came to me and went, bruv, you ain't ready to do that live.
You ain't ready to do that live.
691.
But Herne Bay, man, I'm not aware of that particular club you're talking about, but there used to be a lot of good events by a team called Breakology down there.
Oh, yeah.
When I first come into the game, they were running regular things, man, down in the Herne Bay. So Herne Bay, Whitstable.
Canterbury as well, where you used to do...
Canterbury,
yeah. Casino rooms.
Oh, mate. Casino rooms in Rochester was my spot on a Friday.
Yeah.
Rochester, Friday night. I'll be in there regular, man.
And what's the one in...
What's that Lions place you used to...
Red Lion?
Red Lion,
Talking about Kent venues, Red Lion is the grimy spot.
That's like the back bit, innit, by the studio.
It's a straight grimy spot, man. Do you know what I mean? It always used to kick off that.
I see Ollie put a post up of it outside going, the other day going, the vibes that used to be amazing events.
The vibes were incredible, man.
On the corner in Dagenham. On the corner,
they
had innovations there. They had a few other.
We're not doing London. You missed that.
It's out of London.
Southeast.
It's on the.
Oh, is it the one where they did the Battle of the MCs thing?
Yes.
Oh my
Circus
God.
Tavern.
That's it.
Circus
Tavern.
Circus Tavern is perfectly in Essex, basically. Right near the Dartford.
Perfectly. That's it. I used to see man come out.
Man literally had the ring in there, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Battle of the MCs.
Right. I'm going to bring you back to there. Beefy.
Man, like,
what did he do?
You know.
Did he go?
Beefy was the guy who actually blew up on social media. They interviewed him after the rave,
and that was before social media was a thing.
He done a little thing, but the other one was the guy from Watford called Taz.
Taz
is out there. Yeah. Every now and again, if I feel a bit blue, I just put on your video and I just laugh,
what
man.
Did Taz do?
Taz was the guy, man. He did a little MC. I don't know what you'd call what he did.
He sounded like Icy Free. I swear that.
With the Icy Free. He just kept saying that. Bruv, it was hilarious. And then he did a shout out to the police or something in Watford. You can't hold me down. That's how his video ended. But big up Taz, man. You're a legend.
Well, so yeah, big up Beefy and
I used to
Taz.
see man come out there wounded in Surf Six Tavern, boy. I tell you, that was
wounded, bro.
So listen, do you know what? There's an iconic club that in the Midlands I totally forgot. I've just seen it on my list. I'm glad I've done this blooming list anyway. Quest. Right,
Yeah,
Quest at
heard of
Wolves.
that,
Right, honestly, in
Done Jungle
Wolverhampton,
Fever there
it
as
was
well,
so sick. And I didn't know that Quest, to me, it was just Quest. The club was called Quest. It wasn't called Pablo's, which one of the people in the comments said I used to go to Pablo's, which was Quest.
Okay.
So that was such an iconic.
What about Amazon? Was that a next place as well?
Amazon, I believe Amazon, because the Gerald who owned Quest also owned Amazon.
Was that in Wolverhampton?
Yeah.
Amazon? Yes,
so what he
yes,
did is he
yes.
probably just made a new brand and that. But yeah, so big up Quest. That was the place, right? The good thing about Quest is you went to Quest and you never played no hands in the air cheesy stuff. You literally, this is where you played your dubs
For the heads.
Yeah, it was like a heads place, and it's almost like the deeper and the darker, the better. Do you know what I mean? So like people, you know, even like Gemini, because Gemini was as an artist was quite an underground artist. Do you know what I mean? He was like made a resident up there because they loved him so much because he just used to go in. You know what I mean? So big up Gerald and all the Quest crew. So we're gonna go back over to the east where we said Clacton. Cambridge, any venues in Cambridge? Because I've
Junction, isn't it?
For me, Junction, warning, man.
All right, so the Junction is a good venue, but I'm going back before the Junction. There used to be a thing called the Corn Exchange.
I never went there.
No,
That's
I
the
never
only
went there.
place
That
I've ever
was
been is
mad.
Cambridge is Warning. Warning and Junction.
Literally
Yeah.
Junction for me, and then I done a hip hop thing. I think it was called Fez Club.
Right.
You heard of that? That
No.
was like a smaller thing down the road, man.
Yeah.
But other than that, for me, it's always just been Junction.
And there used to
in
be a thing
Cambridge.
called the Cambridge Eclipse as well, because then you had the Coventry Eclipse, which we'll go to in a sec, and then you had the Cambridge Eclipse.
Okay.
So again, it's such a shame that these iconic venues are just not here. You look at the richness of venues we've already discussed.
All those,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's move over to Coventry Eclipse, because Coventry Eclipse for me was when I remember getting a call from Energy, so big up Seb and Tintin and Jeremy and all the crew. I remember getting a call from him, and this is the call. It went, "Hey Fantasy, would you like to do the closing set at the Coventry Eclipse?" And don't forget, back in the day, the closing set was it was honor. It was an honor to do the closing set, 4:30 to 6. Now, if you're told, "Can you do the closing set?" Man's
People
like,
think graveyard. Don't
yeah,
they?
bruv, I'm not doing that. But it was honestly, and
People used to stay to the end. I know that.
yeah, they did. And then that weekend, I remember that was a kind of a changing point for me, because that weekend I played at the Coventry Eclipse on the Friday, 4:30 to 6, and then I stayed up in the Midlands. I used to stay in Leicester in Stackis Country Court Hotel. I had they used to see me coming, "Hey Stevie, you're right." And I'd be like, I knew all the staff.
Part of the furniture.
Yeah, part of the furniture. And then what it is the next night I played at the Handsworth Leisure Centre for Walton. And that event, that was mad, but it had the edge on it, but it was so sick. It was called, I think the rave was called Starlight, actually.
Handsworth is quite of a rough
Yeah,
area.
it was like, and but the thing is inside the leisure centre rammed. It was mad. I think it was one of the first times I actually properly, I see Frost about, but it's the first time I got close to chat with him or whatever, and that would have been like well early. But the Coventry Eclipse was also where they filmed The Hitman and Her.
Is that where you got filmed?
Yeah,
Hitman and Her?
yeah.
Right, let me just disclaimer. You need to go and search. Search Fantasy on The Hitman and Her.
Yeah, maybe we could get Sam to put it in here.
Oh mate, legendary. Watch this.
Now this is DJ Phantasy. Now, why did you come to Coventry?
Because all the boys from Energy, Chris, Tim and Lincoln and that, I work for them all the time, and they give me a lot of work, and I love working for them, you know what I mean? They're great blokes and that.
Tell me a couple of your big tunes at the moment. That's a good one, isn't it? That's thrown you in, isn't it? Always ask a DJ what his big tunes are. Got no idea. Now then, watch this man, because he's the one to be watched. Because he's a bit of a record producer. I'll let you in on a secret. Let's go down the stairs and see what's happening. And watch Carl.
So yeah, what was that white label you were on about?
Right, yeah. The thing is that I was told beforehand, so big up Pete Waterman and Michaela Strachan, but I was told beforehand that I would get to talk to them for about 20 minutes before I went on. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I remember Pete turned around and he stood next to me and he's like, yeah, so everything all right? And I was like, yeah, cool. And he went, okay, right. So, and he went live, and he caught me by surprise. And I was like, thinking, we're not going to talk. So if you look,
did you go live on the air?
Yeah, we went live.
Wow,
we went live,
mad.
and it was just like a bit like, I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? And I remember it was so hot in there because the Coventry Eclipse was so hot. You've been in Coventry Eclipse, haven't you? And I remember the sweat was dripping down my nose. So what it is, you can see me. I keep touching my nose because my nose has been getting itchy. Yeah, and like what it is,
likely story.
Yeah. Shh, that's what I told everybody. Dun, dun, dun. If you actually listen, I actually sound like, not Del Boy. Who was his partner, Rodney?
Right.
If you listen to my voice, they'll go, yeah, like, and I actually listen back and go, oh my God, I sound like Rodney. But anyway, that was such an iconic venue. And it was, like that night, it was just, I always remember about that venue, and I have said this before, I was standing in the dance hall one day, and I remember Sasha was playing, and Sasha, big up Sasha, massive icon from Manchester, and he was playing, and there was this girl standing in the dance hall crying, and I went to her, you all right? And she went, I'm just like, so happy. And I went, wow, this is deep. And that was the moment I thought to myself, people are so into this music. Like, I mean, I was into it. But I thought I was into it because I was like DJing and making it and everything.
Plus the E's were good as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. There was a song about that. He's a good.
I see it.
Mr.
People
C.
used to just be like you said, they used to cry and flipping to get emotional.
Yeah.
And shit
Yeah,
like
just
that.
let the emotions out, man.
Yeah.
Now people don't need E's to get emotional.
We're quite an emotional bunch these days, aren't we?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I like the way you went, aren't we? So you didn't separate yourself from it.
No, I'm part of it.
Yeah, cool. So anyway,
Especially when it comes to football.
Yeah. Oh, right. Anyway, let's not go there. But anyway, Coventry Eclipse, big up Stuart. He was the owner of the Eclipse. And, there was honestly, I met so many amazing people there. Ratty, Neil Badboy, Lisa, Tango, got rest
Big memories, yeah.
Honestly, it was such a beautiful
Back in the day,
venue.
like I used to, like I said, I never went up north till later. So it was, for me, it was just London and surrounding counties. Like,
See, it's funny, isn't it? How you was
crazy,
like London and I was up there. And the thing is it's so weird because I felt that like when I started coming into London, it was almost like I was having to start from the ground up, if that
Build
makes
up
sense.
again,
Whereas up north and in the Midlands and all them big Fantasias, I'd be like in them big shows and that, and then come to London. And I mean, I used to play for Brett and Sting at Telepathy. They used to.
It was just like I was saying to someone the other day, and another thing, it was like for me to go to West End was a big mission. When I was at school, like just to go to West End, it's like wow, like Red Bus Rover and shit. Like I'm gonna come on.
I love that.
So it's all day, like it's a whole day thing, and then South London would be like a next world.
Right.
Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
obviously we went through the rave era, and then we was just like going from club to club. Sat, Plumstead was like a mission, like you said, it was like a 5-hour trip. It was like, how we gonna do it, going up north was like, when I went up there, first started going up to north, it was like, wow, whole new world again. Like, really, they're listening to this music up here.
You know what
like,
it is? What I find, and I still think it is now, and I find that in London, we as Londoners, like what it is, I think we're a little bit more reserved. So what it is, we won't go as mental. You hear a tune and you're like, whatever. But I find the further north you go, they get more engulfed in it. And that's why places like, like Bass Fest and all of them.
I had that spot in my mind. I'm glad you mentioned it because when you do a festival like Bass Fest, you just see a slight difference in the energy levels.
The energies are mad.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but what it is that's not just a new thing. That's been from back in the day. It's almost like everyone from London's a bit too
was
cool.
the main spot. Like,
well, of course.
Everyone used to come there from all over. It was, it was a 10,000, 8,000 capacity. Even if it was half full, it was still a good
amazing.
party. And then
Yeah.
we'd never seen nothing like that. But that's the place where it was landmark. If you look at where it is, London is 45 miles, 50 miles, and 50 miles from Birmingham. Do you know what I mean? It's right in the middle. So
yeah. It's a shame that the Sanctuary went.
Man, that was
such an iconic venue.
Big part of our scene.
Did
man.
you ever play at Sanctuary?
Never played there, but I did go there a couple of times.
You did go there, yeah. What I used to love about the Sanctuary is they would, they'd have all different types of music in one arena. So you'd have say Seduction play, and he'd do his hardcore, and then I'd play doing jungle, and then you'd have Dougal on after playing hardcore, and then Groove Rider.
It was fresh, man. I mean, by the time I went with MCMC, Destruction, and the Rush Hour.
Oh, yeah.
So they was doing a bit more of a showcase with their thing. Like they was like, practicing their bars. It was more structured, as opposed to just they would link up and do rehearsals. Destruction's doing all scratch routines. Do you know what I mean? I think they even had a horn player or something come on. They were really thinking about the Rush Hour as a live show. So my first time there, I went and experienced the rave, but I also saw like, wow, these guys are serious and they're doing their thing, and it was accepted as well by that audience.
Yeah.
Shout out to MCMC, man.
Yeah,
Mad.
it was the first sort of thing for our scene where we see sort of like a festival, because
That's what it felt like.
It was like, wow, really, like, because the warehouse scene had gone.
I disagree, because there was raves like Fantasia and
But there
Perception,
was a gap in
and
between that. There was nothing on that size from them days there. Like it just went to clubs in 2000.
I never went to Fantasia, so I saw the flyers.
Yeah,
but for my first experience is
warehouse parties,
for me it was going to Helter Skelter. I think it was called Helter Skelter. It was literally the biggest thing I've been to for a rave.
That's what I
so
mean.
talking about Helter Skelter used to run a club in Bedford called Milwaukee's. Now Milwaukee's was so sick. It was literally in the middle. There's actually stuff about it online, so go and search it. It's like it's such an iconic venue. It was like a building in the middle of nowhere on this like little A road, and it used to be like some serious nights in there, like and it had like a low ceiling, rammed every week, and they had a rave every week. It wasn't like just once a month. It was every week, and that was a serious venue. So ESP, so
Cabana Club,
Dreamscape used to start. Sorry, Dreamscape was also there.
Oh, Dreamscape's another big rave icon, isn't it?
Yeah, so Dreamscape and Helter Skelter, they used to do alternative weeks.
Okay.
So Dave Prattley from Helter Skelter and Murray Beast, and God rest his soul, from Dreamscape. That was such an iconic thing. And they were the guys that went to Milton Keynes to the Sanctuary. Yeah. So they're the ones that, because Dreamscape was the first thing at Sanctuary. Yeah. Right. Dreamscape. So, we need to go to the south of the country, because like we are running out of time.
Yeah, we kind of need to wrap this one up a little bit so we can do another pod, man. But
so basically, like Brighton. There's some
we can't not mention Brighton, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? Concord 2.
Yeah.
Volks, I love the Volks, man. The Volks is that underground spot that I enjoy there. There's another one that's under the pier, isn't it, man? I've done a few things there. I can't think what it's called.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I can't think of the name of it. Brighton's, it's another one of those places that's always been like Summer Based Jungle has always been strong there, man, and hip hop as well.
Yeah, it's such a great city. Also Bournemouth as well. You've got like the Opera House, which
love Opera House, man.
Iconic.
Fire Station.
Yeah, Fire Station.
Yeah.
So while I'm here, October the 7th, Fire Station, look out for it. Fusion have got something there with Devotion. Devotion's coming back. People.
Devotion's coming back.
It's coming back, people.
Whee!
So yeah. So so I'll talk to you.
That was the first time you ever booked me was for a Devotion.
Oh, was it?
It was, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's
free bills at the time.
Was it?
You got a good deal.
Yeah, serious. No, you got a good deal.
I did actually. It was good.
Yeah. So anyway, because this not taking free bills. We're going to take it back, people.
Yesterday's price is not tomorrow's price.
So also as well as down the south, so you've got what other cities? Southampton. There's
Southampton, man. There's some spots up there. Yeah. I can't think of the clubs yet again, but there were some spots in Southampton, man.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Just to wrap this up, I think it's only fair because so many people mentioned, I should just name some clubs and see if you remember them. So in Brighton, obviously the Brighton Centre, that was a massive
thing. I played there once. Yeah.
Massive.
Wicked.
Loved that. Also Marcus Garvey in Nottingham, because you said Marcus Garvey.
I played there once.
Yeah. Lovely place again. It was one of them edgy vibes, innit? Do you know what I mean? What's the other place that Spider does in Nottingham? The Irish Centre. That's it. The Irish Centre.
That spot as well.
That was sick. You remember we did that?
Yes,
the Irish
Centre. That was wicked.
Yeah, that was vibes. And also, we do something for Brucey in that in Nottingham. That
there's a next club that we did for Brucey.
What was it called? Yeah. Oh my god, I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But anyway,
so many.
So I want to move over. Brunel Room, Swindon.
Yes, that was.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right, that's that one and only time I've ever played on the Valve sound system.
Okay.
And I'll tell you now, my whole body was shaking. It was like mad. I actually remember thinking, turn the bloody bass down.
Do you know what Dillinger would have said? It's not too loud.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Wigan Pier. There was an infamous rave at Wigan Pier. Also, Viberlight in Mansfield at Venue 44. That was a vibe. That was
Mansfield's miles away.
Yeah, it's miles away. Right, do you ever remember the Doncaster Warehouse?
No.
Didn't we play Doncaster for, what's his name? Oh, I've forgotten his name now.
Oh, Doncaster. Is that like near Luton?
Doncaster's far.
What am I thinking?
bro.
It's near Luton. Sounds a bit like
Bedford?
that.
No,
Not Bedford.
Doncaster.
It sounds like that anyway.
Anyway, Doncaster Warehouse. Listen to this. I found out.
I'm really good at geography, you can tell.
Listen to this. I found out that Doncaster Warehouse is still going.
Okay.
And because I was talking to Mark Breeze the other day, and I was like, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm on my way to Doncaster." I was like, "Are we doing that?" He goes, "I'm at the warehouse." I went, "What? The original warehouse?" And he went, "Yeah." I went, "No way." Yeah. So yeah, big up. Pleasure Dome in Skegness.
Yeah, I played there for SS.
I remember Pleasure Rooms. Where was Pleasure Rooms?
That was in Tottenham.
Oh, okay.
That was where Labyrinth did their thing. Yeah. Tiffany's in Great Yarmouth, Dance Paradise.
You got a big list there, man.
Yeah, man. It's massive.
In Norwich. Cool.
The Waterfront. Yeah,
Waterfront was a vibe. I played there.
Yeah, the Waterfront.
We got the Norwich gang. We got the Rumble crew.
Yeah.
So, do anyone remember the Hard Dock in Liverpool?
No.
No.
I've hardly ever played in Liverpool.
Quadrant Park in
I
Liverpool.
played a couple of places, but not.
Quadrant Park. No, there's another iconic venue. Creamfields. They had their own club in Liverpool. No. Okay, so and then we're going to go to, well, they were brilliant venues. I don't think none of them are there no more, which is such a shame. The Chapel in Salisbury.
Yeah.
Yes, the church. Yes.
Big up
Played there loads of times. Yeah, man.
That's vibes,
You're literally like playing up on like kind of what the pulpit would be for the church, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the deck set up. It's crazy set up in there.
Yeah, that was mad. Berwick Manor, you must remember Berwick Manor.
Yeah, I've been Berwick Manor.
Yeah, so well, we're getting close to the end. So we've done that. Yeah, man. There's a few
There's so
here
many.
more,
There's probably some we ain't going to mention today.
We haven't mentioned anything in Wales, so we've got to say Club Sin in Wales, Swansea. Do you remember?
Still there.
We did it. Yeah, he did. Yeah, we did.
Oh, well, we did Swansea that time.
Yeah, we did Swansea. Yeah, so mate.
Mate, when you think about that, all them memories, all those places, all those spots that like helped shape like culture, music, a whole scene, you know what I mean? Regionally, all across the country, man, they all had their part to play in it in terms of shaping people's lives and the way the music moved forward as well. Do you know what I mean? Totally. It's incredible.
It is absolutely incredible. And it's so sad that we've gone through like probably 100 and something clubs over 2 podcasts, and I'd say there's probably 20 of them still about.
Standing,
I'm being generous when I say 20. That's how bad things are.
It's got to look positive. There'll be new ones, I'm sure. They will get you rebuild and regenerate.
Hopefully,
that
if
market.
Not, there'll be flats.
Yeah.
So
you're playing in someone's living room.
Yeah.
You laugh, they're doing that online, aren't they?
Back in the garden.
Kitchen sets and all that.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. So anyway, listen, we hope you enjoyed this. If you have any clubs that we missed, please leave them in the comments. Let us know about some of like your favorite venues from over the years. You know, that we do read all the comments. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And don't forget, really importantly, make sure you follow. This is SaSaSaS, Life and Laughter. We're out. Peace out.
SaSaSaS, beats and bars, fresh. Don't know we're heavy. The best of the best of the best. So awesome if they're ready. Yes. SaSaSaS, beats and bars, fresh. Don't know we're heavy. The best of the best of the best. So awesome if they're ready.